All right, let's jump right in. Today we're going to dive into a neighborhood that is so much more than just a bunch of pretty houses. It's a living, breathing piece of Baltimore's history. Okay, let's do this. We're unpacking the incredible story of Bolton Hill.
And you know what? We're going to take that quote literally. So, think of this whole thing as our expert appraisal. We're going to examine every single facet of this incredible gem to really understand its true, and I mean true, enduring value.
You know, any gem, any precious stone, it all starts with its core structure, right? The foundation that gives it strength. Well, for Bolton Hill, that foundation is its deep and absolutely fascinating history.
But what's really fascinating here, and you gotta get this, is the intention behind the name. It wasn't just some old name that stuck around. It was chosen. Back in 1955, the residents deliberately linked it to Boston's super prestigious Beacon Hill. They were making a statement, loud and clear. This place is refined, it's important, and has a legacy.
And man, you can literally see that legacy carved into the architecture itself. These aren't just buildings. These magnificent Victorian rowhouses are a statement. You've got the iconic marble steps, the intricate cornices. It all creates this powerful sense of permanence, of grandeur. And the fact that it's all protected by historic preservation rules, that means this isn't just a glimpse into the past, it's the neighborhood's guaranteed future.
Okay, so here's a little detail that most people might miss, but you feel it when you're there. Unlike a lot of Baltimore's grid system, Bolton Hill is set on a diagonal. It's this subtle little choice by a surveyor named Thomas Poppleton, but it completely changes the vibe of the neighborhood. It creates these unique views and this feeling of being kind of set apart. And it's exactly this kind of distinct character that drew in some incredible people, which is exactly where we're going next.
So a gem's real beauty, its sparkle, it comes from how it catches the light, right? Its brilliance. For Bolton Hill, that brilliance comes from the absolutely remarkable people who lived within its walls and the culture they built. I mean, just stop and think about that for a second. On these very streets, a future president of the United States was forming his entire worldview. And then, maybe just a short walk away, F. Scott Fitzgerald was literally wrestling with the words for one of the great American novels. We're not just talking about real estate here. This place was a crucible of American history and culture.
Oh, and the story does not stop there. Not by a long shot. Let me introduce you to the Cone sisters. From their apartment, right in Bolton Hill, these two women quietly put together a collection of modern art that would, no exaggeration, change the art world. Even Matisse himself used to call them my two Baltimore ladies.
So what's that legacy worth today? I mean, in actual dollars. Well, the collection they started is now at the Baltimore Museum of Art, and it's valued at nearly $1 billion. Yeah, $1 billion. Just think about that. And it all started right here, inside a Bolton Hill apartment.
And this is how you know the neighborhood's prestige isn't just stuck in the past. I mean, millions of people all over the world know this row house at 1609 Park Avenue. Not from some history book, but because it's the iconic home of the Underwoods in Netflix's House of Cards. It's a modern pop culture landmark.
You know, a gem isn't just something you lock away in a museum, right? It's meant to be worn, to be part of life. So let's look at the third facet, how Bolton Hill actually works today as a vibrant, living, breathing community.
This is really the heart of the community. These places aren't just restaurants. They're the neighborhood's living rooms. It's where neighbors meet up for coffee, where they celebrate birthdays, and where they build that social fabric that turns a bunch of houses into a real home.
And that community fabric, it's not static. It's constantly getting this fresh injection of energy from the Maryland Institute College of Art, or MICA, as everyone calls it. It infuses this historic place with so much creativity and youth. And events like the annual Art Walk, it literally turns the streets into a living gallery, blending the past and the present perfectly. And you know, maybe nothing captures that modern spirit better than this one single powerful word. This is from the iconic Unity Mural you'll find at North and Park Avenue. And it is so much more than just art on a wall. It's a statement about resilience, about diversity, and about a kind of community pride that proves Bolton Hill's story is still being written every single day.
Okay, so we've looked at the history, the culture, the brilliance. Now it's time to get down to business. Let's pull out the loop for the formal appraisal and look at the hard numbers to see what Bolton Hill's market value really looks like right now.
So, if we pull data from a few different places, we start to see a really clear picture of stability. Sure, you see some tiny fluctuations year over year, but the big picture, especially when you look at Trulia's forecast, is a steady climb. And with houses on the market for an average of 47 days, that tells you it's an active but not a totally frantic marketplace.
And this is what I love. This chart really shows you the diversity within the market. Yeah, the median sale price is hanging around $552K, but there's a really strong luxury segment here, with some of those truly grand homes getting close to $1 million. That kind of range, that tells you it's a healthy, dynamic market.
So what does all this mean for you if you're thinking about buying or investing here? Well, rental demand is strong, which is awesome for income potential. The market is competitive enough that the really good properties move fast. And the bottom line? The expert consensus is crystal clear. This is a neighborhood with stable value and really strong potential for long-term growth.
All right, we've examined every facet of this incredible gem. So, what's the final verdict on this crown jewel of Baltimore? It's this: you're not just buying property here, you are investing in a legacy.
The thing is, its true value is so much more than the sum of its parts. You have the historic foundation, that incredible architecture. You have the cultural brilliance of everyone from presidents to artists. You've got a vibrant community that's alive today, and it's all underpinned by a stable market that protects that value for the future. And really, maybe it all comes down to this simple but incredibly powerful quote from someone who lives there: Bolton Hill is a true state of mind. The appeal goes way beyond the numbers on a spreadsheet. It's about being part of a community, a story, yeah, a state of mind.
Which leaves us with one last thing to think about. I mean, we can measure price per square foot all day long, but how do you possibly measure the value of being part of a story that includes presidents, artists, and modern-day innovators? It's a huge question, right? Something to really chew on. Thanks for joining me on this one.